Yes, sometimes, and also sometimes we feel like I have to suffer because the more that I do, the more I suffer, the stronger I am. No, it doesn't have to be. We are strong. We are resilient. We don't just suffering alone does not mean that we are strong. And who cares? Somebody think that you are weak. It doesn't matter. We are not supposed to suffer. And when we are under stress, it doesn't matter how much medication that we are on. If our mind is focused on the stress, our body cannot heal itself. And I can talk about healing as something very, very small. Like if we have a cut on our fingers, for example, it does heal, right? How does that happen? And when we have a surgery, our body heals because, I mean, it is amazing how incredible the healing power of our body. I have seen that so many times. If you see somebody post that I'm having a difficult time, that's just the little words without going into what they're experiencing. Reach out before it gets too late, before it gets to the point that, because we go deeper and deeper into our problems. The more, what, they say, what we focus on, we attract more of. The more that we focus on the issue that we are facing, that becomes larger and larger and bigger to the point that we cannot see. And then every time that facing another lesson, I call them life lesson, another life lesson, it felt like, okay, I am here, but the hope of something better will come from that life lesson. It just showed me that I have to have hope, that there is a reason I am where I am. So that's probably what I think would be literally the word that I believe.
Threshold breach detected. Initiating cancel or test.
Did Mercury retrograde take out the whole comm systems or?
Negative. Signal acquired. Prepare to connect.
New vessel entering the field. Designation: Starship Rewritten Realms. Pilot: Soodabeh Mokry. Primary frequency: Soul memory reactivation. Temporal echoes detected. Council verification confirmed. The Council welcomes you, Soodabeh.
Hello, Captain LA here of the Ethereal Voyager. It is nice to connect with you.
Hello, LA. How are you today?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. So,
good to see you.
yes. So every time I run into a cosmic traveler, I invented a little game as a sort of icebreaker, and it is called the Cosmic Wheel of Wisdom. So we spin the wheel, it lands on a random question, and you get to answer it.
All right.
All right, let's do it. The Cosmic Wisdom. And what's the best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Never take no for an answer. Just follow your dreams. Yes.
That's a really good one, right? Because sometimes when we run into obstacles, it can make us question the route or whatever it is that we're trying to pursue. And so that is wonderful because I have learned to be very resilient when I get my no's. But if it's something I'm really passionate about, I'm like, you know what? I will turn those no's into a yes, no matter how long it takes. So, yes, I love that.
Correct.
And so, if you had to describe your journey, which this is probably difficult if I think about it, but if you had to describe your entire journey in one word, what would it be?
Hope.
I love that. And why hope?
It's because I grew up feeling that I wasn't good enough, and everything that I experienced, the most difficult challenging situations that I have all ever been, it always came with hope and faith and knowing that, what all of a sudden the words of Louise Hay came to my mind, like when you are facing a challenging situation, just close your eyes and say, take a deep breath and say, I am where I have to be, and where I am safe. And from this challenging situation, something good will happen. And that has always been my, at the beginning, we never think about it, right? And then every time that facing another lesson, I call them life lesson, another life lesson, it felt like, okay, I am here, but the hope of something better will come from that life lesson. It just showed me that I have to have hope, that there is a reason I am where I am. So that's probably what I think would be literally the word that I believe in.
Yeah, I love that hope. And, that's like the driving force, especially when you're in those deep, darkest times. As you were speaking, I like remember moments in my life where, hope was the only thing I had, and without that hope, it's like, well, I don't see a direction, I don't see a way out, and just really leaning into trusting the path, trusting the journey, and whatever lessons that I'm supposed to be learning there in that moment, no matter how difficult it is.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about how strength has helped you accomplish and persevere throughout your life.
As I said, growing up, I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I was very quiet, very shy, and never thought that I had anything interesting to say. And that was the upbringing. And then about 34 years ago, my life completely changed when I was alone. I didn't have any support. I had to take care of two young children after my divorce. And the first thought was, well, maybe life is not worth living. And that didn't happen, of course, that I am sitting here. So I call it, the first failure that was the best thing that happened to me. And from that space, when you are literally rock bottom, and there is nowhere to go. They call it do or die. Well, I tried to die, that didn't happen, so I have to do something about it. And I just started taking one step. The first step was just, crying myself to sleep at night, but waking up, taking care of my kids, taking them to school, and figuring out where my life was going. So every step that I took with that faith and hope that we talked about earlier um, allowed me to see what was in front of me. And literally, that hope and that faith helped open the doors. I'm like, okay, I am here. What is my purpose? What is my path? Because I am lost, I am confused, I have nobody, and I have two little kids to take care of. Show me the way. And that was the time that, as I moved forward, and one step after another, and I saw that the doors opening up helped me to see, okay, life happens out of our control sometimes, and we call it challenges, roadblocks, but the doors that was closed, and which was my divorce, and I felt like I didn't have anything, became the best thing that was ever happened to me, because being alone and not having any support pushed me, forced me out of the familiar zone, I call it, not a comfort zone, that I had to do something to take control of my life and be able to take care of my kids and create a better life for them. And that is what I learned. You got to do it. You don't have any choice. There is nothing out there. Rock bottom. That's all you need to do. Have hope and take one step at a time.
Yeah, that was so perfectly said. And I think a lot of people can relate, right? When they're at this moment where they're like, I literally can't see the way out. I don't like it's the abyss right in front of me. Like, what am I doing right now? And I think that those moments are powerful, at least from what I hear in your story and when I reflect upon when I was at my rock bottom moment, where when there's nothing else and you have to like release and give in and really ask for help because it is available. Those are like the most powerful, life-changing, pivotal moments that like push us forward. And as you said, like I remember driving one night and it hit me like, oh, this is like life. Like it was dark and I live in Georgia and it's really curvy here. And so it's hard to see just, maybe a few feet in front of you, but as you're driving, it'll light up, as you go, you see what you need to see and you just release. And like something snapped in me. I said, oh, okay. So this is like really like giving in and just trusting that as I move forward, what I need to know will be revealed. So that's a really powerful. And so I would ask you, for a lot of people in those moments right now that are like, okay, I hear you. I just can't see the way out. What would you say to those people?
Um, there is always hope. I believe that there is always hope and there is always a way. And sometimes what we do, and that's what something that I did because of my upbringing, and I was always quiet and shy, I never thought I could ask for help. So for me I was suffering inside and nobody knew what was going on in my life. So when I opened up and when I asked, the doors were opened, like people came and like, hey, who are you? What is your name? And we started talking, and their questions were like, oh my God, this is your life. I can help you. Because when we don't ask for help, and especially as women, as mothers, as parents, as caregivers, and all of that, we feel like for me, for example, and this is for a lot of people, being vulnerable, it means weakness. We are weak. So I have to go, I have to do it, I have to suffer, and I have to suffer alone. So when you go out and ask, and right now, and we are in the age and time of social media, there are internet, there are things, there are literally hope. We just have to believe that, okay, there is hope. I'm going to go out and I'm going to ask for that help. Once we start asking the right questions, and we will find that somebody is going to come and say, hey, I can help you. I mean, I had nothing. I had people that were strangers, like my neighbors, take my kids to school, and they're the parents are like, oh, hi, what is your name? And like, I can take you to grocery store. I mean, I didn't have a car or anything. I can help you. I can, oh, you don't have, I can get your, clothes for your kids. I mean, literally, it seemed like it was like a miracle. The doors opened and the stranger, the people that I didn't know, literally asked question. And as I said, what my situation was, they started helping me.
Mm,
We see a lot of negativity most of the time, but there are good people out there. There are good people that they do good deeds. And one of the things that I have learned about humanity, about people, is just, if, for example, when the time that there is a fire, when the time that there is an earthquake, everybody comes to help, right? So when we are suffering and we are not saying anything and we are under the fire, if we are not asking question, nobody will know and nobody's going to help. So I would definitely say just reach out to someone that you trust and say, this is my situation, can you help me?
mm,
And just take that, have that hope, have that faith, and just move forward with that, because
mm.
that was my life.
Yeah, you said a few powerful things there that I think a lot of women, especially as you said, caregivers, caretakers, that have families and all of these things, and the way that society raises women to be so strong, right? And like you said, to be vulnerable and ask for help. That being like, oh, you're a failure, right? Because now you have to go ask someone for help, but if you don't ask, how do you know? And the other important thing you said was asking the right questions, right? I just had this experience this morning where I was trying to figure out a problem that I've been having, and I'm like, I am asking myself the wrong questions. So I had to rephrase and ask the right questions. And it was like magic how instantly the answer came to me. And I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, I got to do better with asking myself the right questions. So yeah, absolutely. That is so powerful. I feel like just in my family alone, there's my father had the blessing to have all women. So, but just I don't have children, but they have my older sisters have children, and just watching them, uh, like you said, asking for help seems to be something that is almost like, oh my God, how do I even move my lips to say I need help?
Yes, yes, definitely. I remember when I was, experiencing the darkest time of my life, and I was really, really depressed to the point that I thought that I was going to do something that very bad, that was not going to be good for my kids, that didn't have anybody. And I reached out to my doctor. I said, I need help. This is my situation. And sometimes, as I said, when we suffer, I have been a nurse for over 40 years, so I know the medical world a little bit better. But there is always help available. We may don't see it because we are so, our focus is in on the problem, and we don't see that maybe there is somebody can help us, a doctor, a nurse, a neighbor, a family. Just don't be shy, don't feel like you have to be strong and endure. Suffering is the word that happens in a lot of cultures, that if we suffer, then we are gonna, something good is gonna happen from it. I'm going to put it in that way without going into detail. And we don't have to suffer. We really don't have to suffer. One of the things that I learned, from reading a lot of books and, doing a lot of research and everything, because, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I wanted some solutions to say that there is hope. Really, there is something available for me. And there, I wasn't getting what I needed from life. And then I realized that majority of time we just don't say anything. All we need to do to reach out and open up, and we will find the solution. But because we are so focused on the problem, we can't see that there is a better way of, hey, maybe I can do something different.
Yeah. Again, so the first thing is I want to say, how can people recognize when it is time to ask for help? Like, how can they be aware enough to say, okay, I need help before it gets any further, like before they reach that I'm in the abyss breaking point?
Yes, I mean when we are facing an issue, for example, something happened. We are facing a crossroads, right? We lose a job, lost the loved ones, grieving. We are facing. I work as an oncology nurse. The people that they are facing cancer. That is the most terrifying things to experience. Is just open up and talk to someone you trust, because sometimes we cannot talk about with the family members, but we have friends. We can and again reach out to the doctors. The doctor that you have, somebody will, a neighbor, something, just put it out. Sometimes is like right now, the time and age of social media, when people say something that I am having difficulty, and people will reach out. I have seen that so many times. If you see somebody post that I'm having a difficult time, that's just the little words, without going into what they're experiencing. Reach out before it gets too late, before
Mm,
it gets to the point that because we go deeper and deeper into our problems. The more, what they say, what we focus on, we attract more of. The more that we focus on the issue that we are facing, that becomes larger and larger and bigger and bigger, to the point that we cannot see sun, we cannot see daylight, we cannot
mm,
see anything but the problem. So when we open up and talk to one person, or post on something, and that send a message. If you don't want to post this, send a message to a Facebook friend, like, hey, I am having a difficult time, I need a friend. People will say yes. There is no way for people to, there are, if the people, they are strangers and they don't know you, and yeah, they may judge you, but somebody, we have friends, we have somebody. So just reach out. Don't wait until it's really, really bad. Even if there is something that you think that the doctor is not a health issues, but reach out to the doctor. Doctor could send you to a social worker, for example, a counselor, somebody, because that's what happened. I had to go and talk with a therapist to figure out, how can I get out of that darkness that I thought I had no control over. Life happens.
yeah. Yeah. And one thing I appreciate today is that, as you said, we have resources abundantly available to us. We have social media. And like you said, people are, I believe, through my experience, inherently good, and they want to help. So even if you're just putting it out there to strangers, somebody will come through and help. And also, I appreciate the fact that therapy has become so accessible nowadays. So there's so many resources. And then actually the second part I wanted to touch on is what you said about suffering, right? I I grew up, born and raised Jehovah's Witness, and one of their things is suffering. Like, to suffer is like showing how obedient you are to God, and it's like wow, like why does life have to be so hard? It shouldn't have to be like that. But that programming, translated to what you said, like suffering in life and just being like, well, I have to bear this to show that, I'm an obedient servant to God. And, just the programming, so would you say to help people like overcome those type of like, because really a lot of the time that is tied to religious programming.
Yes, sometimes, and also sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to suffer because the more that I do, the more I suffer, the stronger I am. No, it doesn't have to be. We are strong, we are resilient, and we don't just suffering alone does not mean that we are strong. And who cares? Somebody think that you are weak. It doesn't matter. We are not supposed to suffer. Everything that we experience in life is a lesson. It just pushes us out of our comfort zone. It's not a comfort, we call it comfort zone, but it's a familiar zone. Sometimes people say that why that person stays in that, for example, unhealthy job or toxic relationships, because when you are in that situation, you know what to expect. You know that how the person that is a familiar zone, not a comfort zone. And the comfort means I am comfortable where I am. I'm happy and I'm content. So the mindset, that the way that our subconscious work and our mind works is just we stay in that situation, because if we go out of that box, out of the situation that we don't know what is going to happen. And that is when the fear happens and the mind comes on like, I don't know if I get out of this job, for example, I'm just saying job that I have worked for 20 years. What is outside of this that is going to happen for me? Is it going to be better? Excuse me. Because we think that this is the only thing I know how to do it.
They told you your life was a straight line. A birth, a death. A story already written in stone. But what if the author was you, and this body, just your latest pen?
The Council's Division of Soul Contracts has initiated Operation Rewritten Realms. This is not a metaphor. Your memories of other lifetimes are awakening, and your destiny is asking for edits.
Symptoms may include deja vu, time distortions, strong aversions, and the uncanny sense you've met them before. We cannot promise the new script will be easier, only that it will be yours. Reincarnation is not escape. It is revision. The pen is in your hand.
And we stay there. Excuse me. The same thing comes with a relationship, for example, that I have been, people stay in. I am not saying people have to go divorce or break up. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that if we are in the relationship, like, for example, for the sake of the kids, and this is, I know how she is going to act, how he is going to act. What is going to happen if I get out of this situation? What is going to happen to me? What is going to happen to my kids? All of these things that comes when we reach out to someone that knows how to help us. We are surrounded by signs. I was watching a show, for example, a talk show on the TV, and it would just tell me about the name of a book. I'm like, ooh, that's a good book. I'm going to go read it. You see what I'm saying? We can always just open up, okay, how can I help myself? What are the possible situations, the possible answers, the possible scenarios that can help me to get out of where I am? And that would help them.
Okay, so how does your work in as a oncology nurse, right? How does
Yes.
that help you with helping people heal spiritually and make their transition smoothly?
Yes, my being a nurse, oncology nurse, is one job that I have, but I also have my private practice that I have a combination of many tools that I learned because when I was I was faced with the most challenging time of my life, and I started reading a lot of books, and then I realized that there are other aspects of that it can help us. One of the most important thing that I learned is that we are holistic beings. It means that we don't have just a physical body. Illness happens not as the result of something wrong with the body, because we have as a holistic being, there are four aspects of or four factors that contribute to our health and well-being. We have a mindset, there's a mental body, we have emotions, emotional body, and we have a spirit, the soul within us, that the spiritual body. When all of these four aspects of us is balanced, then we are healthy. We enjoy life. We feel content. We have the capacity to look at the hard thing, the lessons, the any situation, and be balanced. Be at peace. That is one of the things that helped me to figure out that one thing that I added to my tools as a nurse, because medical community, I should say it in broadly, did not answer all of my questions
Yeah.
because I was suffering. Therapy was the first thing that I started opening my eyes. But I learned about hypnotherapy, which is different than talk therapy or cognitive therapy and other therapy modalities, because I experienced a lot of trauma growing up, and hypnotherapy was very easy, very convenient, without going into the darkest times, say how I felt or anything. It just opened a very easy tool for me to be able to calm down and to be able to just focus on my hypnotherapist that was telling me something. Just close your eyes, focus on your breathing, taking me into a guided meditation, guided imagery that relaxes the conscious mind, because we have our brain is conscious mind and then subconscious mind. Subconscious mind forms before the age of 6 and 7, means that the things that as a little kid that we don't even have the capacity to rationalize or analyze, or we just perceive the mom said this, then mom should be correct, right? Because mother should love me. Dad said that, sister said that, and my teacher said that. We just absorb. It's just our brain is not formed completely. It is like a sponge, gets everything from right and left, and as we observe, we perceive, okay, I am not good. Something happened that helped, that made me as a little girl to believe that I wasn't good enough. So all of that stays in the subconscious mind. And then once I started working with a hypnotherapist, it allowed me to see, oh, this is a tool that when I was able to become stronger, emotionally, mentally, be able to focus, and all of my health issues were resolved. As a result, I'm not saying that I cure disease, but let's just say if you have health issues, talk to your doctor. I am a school nurse. I am a practice medical professional. So I am not a nurse. But that helped me to figure out, okay, there is a mindset that is affecting me. The fact that I didn't believe in myself was my body had autoimmune disease, means that our body attacks its own cells. So once I was able to start learning about meditation, about the spirituality, connecting with the angelic realm, connecting with my something greater. I always say there is something greater than my physical body. When I learned all of those tools, I'm like, oh, I learned about Reiki, energy healing, and in the morning when I wake up, I connect with that. I call it divine source because I want to respect everyone, whether somebody is religious or not. It doesn't really matter. Well, there is a source, a power greater than our physical body that, our powerful soul. Our soul comes to the earth in this physical form because we want to learn, grow, evolve. And every situation that I have ever been in, that we call it, challenges or struggles or roadblocks, help me when once I open my mind and say, okay, what can I do about this situation? Help me to become my soul grow. I grew personally, and I also grew professionally. I also grew spiritually. So when I have a client, for example, comes to me and say, I have this issue, I am stuck, I want to create, for example, my own business, or I have a health issues, I am working with my doctors, but is there anything that you can help me with? Because I do also medical hypnosis as well. Because I went back to school, even being a nurse, I went back to school. I got my certification in being a hypnotherapist. So I have a lot of tools that I help with my clients, which they are outside of my work. But let's just come back to your question. Even with my oncology patients, from where I work, they allow me to work with my patient because stress is one of the key issues in why our body experience health issues, but also it prevents us when we are under a lot of stress. It prevents us from, because our body has the healing power. And when we are under stress, it doesn't matter how much medication that we are on, if our mind is focused on the stress, our body cannot heal itself. And I can talk about healing as something very, very small. Like if we have a cut on our fingers, for example, it does heal, right? How does that happen? And when we have a surgery, our body heals, because it is amazing how um, incredible the healing power of our body. But we have to have the other tools. We have to have a good mindset. We have to have a emotionally in a place that I know I am facing these health issues, for example, cancer. But I work with our patients, take them into a guided meditation, their body relaxes, and then I provide healing. I provide Reiki for them. That allows that the medicine that the doctor is giving them be more effective than those people that they are not utilizing other aspects of their health and well-being. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, yes, you did, and you brought up a very interesting point. It's like I could say again from my own experience, having dealt with health issues due to a number of things, but mostly it was stress, right? I was under an immense amount of stress. And as you said, when you're in an environment where you're overwhelmed with stress, your body can't heal itself properly. And so once it was like magic, it was like a miracle, because once I removed myself from the environment, I immediately started to get better. And I was like, wow, like I understood uh, the heaviness of the energy, but I didn't think that it was having such a toll on me physically. Um, so yeah, that taught me also the lesson about the importance of environment. Right.
Yes, yes, most definitely. Sometimes it is not possible to get ourselves out of those situations, right? The stressful situation. We go to work, we have to work with our coworkers, and not everybody's, we just absorb somebody else's stress. So when we learn to take care of ourselves, like, when I wake up 1 hour earlier than before I have to go to my, to my work, and I go through meditation. I listen to a guided imagery. When I go to sleep, I listen to a hypnosis that helps me to get all the positive things, because our subconscious mind is open when we wake up in the morning and before we go to bed. So anything positive, anything that is helping us to relax our body, help us as also healing our body as well. But also here, when I go and I'm encountered with lots of patients, they are in distress and everything. I mean, all of our patients are amazing. They are enduring the most difficult time. But again, we are all made of energy. Somebody doesn't. I mean, we absorb people's energy. So if I take care of my vessel, my body, my mind, my emotions, then I can provide that safe space for my patient. So they see me and like, there is something different about you. Everybody, all of the nurses are wonderful, right? But they just pinpoint, there is something about you. You're always calm, you're always collected. And how do you do that? Then I will teach them, like, there are a lot of apps that helps people to listen to a meditation or get their body, their mind quiet down, and all of that thing. So because the stress is part of life, we cannot go somewhere that is we don't have any stress, right? How we act and react into those stressful situations is just how I am looking at how I behave, how I react to this stressful situation. That is matter, and that is the important part.
Mm. Yeah, that's so perfectly said again. And the most important aspect I think you hit on in that last point is perspective, right? And how we react to a situation can change the outcome. And, what I always say to people is if you're not sure about something, just like experiment and try it, and really in that moment, which helped me change my life is in that moment, instead of, maybe reacting like I would normally would, I'll wait a second and then change my perspective and say, well, okay, well, let me think about it this way. And just see how things shift like right before your eyes. It's truly amazing, because like you said, we are energy. And so whatever energy you're in, whatever energy you're giving off in that moment, it affects your external environment as well as, your internal. So yeah, that's perfectly put. And so what do you think when you take science, the way we traditional medicines and all of those healing techniques, and we take spirituality and we intersect them, uh, what do you think the benefit of that is?
Most definitely, the first thing is just being calm, bringing that, because spirituality doesn't necessarily means that, believing in, following a certain religious group or religion, or following that. We can be that, but that doesn't mean that we are spiritual. Spirituality means connecting with that powerful soul within us. Connecting with nature is spirituality. Connecting with animals is a spirituality. Connecting with the energy of water is a spirituality. Spirituality means that knowing that we have all the tools to be happy, to enjoy the whatever, in spite of everything that is going on, the chaos around us and in the world, we are able to just like, I am safe, I am protected, I can do this. And when I change myself, then everything around me changes. Just exactly like what you said. When we shift our the way that we look at the world that we look at shifts and changes. And I have been in situations that are like, oh my God, if we go into the victim mentality, that I have done that many times. So, and then I learned like, they are not going to change. I need to change. And changing means not being submissive and being a doormat and allowing people to walk all over you. That does not that. I mean, just like, how can I change my mind? That person is who she is, who he is, who they are. They are going to say what they think, their perception, because everybody's mindset, even if you think about something that came to my mind right now, is children in the same household, they have different perspective. And I said, mom did that. No, mom did not do that. It's just we have different, the way that we absorb information and perceive it is differently. So that person is not going to change. Then I have to change. Not to allow that person to abuse me, for example, but I need to change, not to let other persons, the way that they speak, to hurt me. For example, we can be strong and say, hey, having healthy boundary. But that healthy boundary comes like, they are who they are. I know who I am. I'm not going to let somebody else's opinion changes who I am. So how can I do that? How can I take care of myself? And when I see a lot of things going on at work, for example, and I'm like, all I need to do, connect to the source and connect. I always teach my clients, feel like, wiggle your toes, your feet, and allow yourself to feel like that your feet are attached to like a trunk of a tree that has roots and going inside, and you are grounded. The moment that I feel like, okay, I'm supported, I'm grounded to the source, and I'm grounded in the energy, with the energy of the earth. And like, the wind comes, people's voices and the words comes, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. The tree stands strong. So that by itself, when we know that we are connected to a source that is all about light, is all about love, is all about unity, and I wake up, I'm like, I am safe, I am supported, I'm protected, and I'm here. I have a purpose, and my purpose is to bring more light and love into the world. When I go out with that energy of light and love, then people can say things because they are who they are. I cannot change them, but I am connected with who I am. And that allows me to feel joy into smallest thing in my day. And I'm grateful for everything that I experience. Even when somebody says something, I'm like, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that was like one of my biggest lessons over the past couple years, especially with healing mother wounds, you know. Yeah, so that was like, yeah, that was my biggest thing because it was like, logically, I know, but I can't help my feelings when I hear like I'm triggered, right? And really understanding once I stopped letting myself get triggered, it changed the dynamic, right? Because it's like, oh, now I can't trigger you. So I see you're growing emotionally, becoming more emotionally mature, emotionally stable. And it was too, once I realized, as you perfectly said, is, oh, you are who you are, and I accept that. It's me. I have to like really embrace that you are who you are, and I have to change the way I respond, and you know all of those things. But it was amazing to see that again once I shifted my perspective, how everything changed. Like it was just like magic is all I can say. I enjoy the magic of it all because it's magical because of how it happens, but it's really just practical stuff. It's our perspective. We have to shift that. Like if you think about quantum mechanics and how they realize that observing something actually changes the outcome. And so now how are you observing this thing? Because that's going to affect the outcome. Yeah.
Yes, the majority of time, I am glad that you brought the word trigger, because majority of time when we are feeling triggered means that there is aspects of us that we have not healed,
Yes.
and we get triggered over and over and over again until we decide I'm done with this. So we find a way to heal that, and one of the way that to heal is just they are who they are. I'm
Yes.
not going to be triggered by this thing. So every time we are triggered means that we have more work to do. We have
Mhm.
healing, because healing has a lot of layers. I know that there are lots of coaches like, I can heal you in just a few sessions. Well, that is their way of practicing, but healing has a lot of layers, and the reason is because our soul is, as long as we are in this physical form, our soul is learning the lesson, growing, evolving, learning all of that. We cannot heal everything. I can be the better version of myself every day, but my soul is growing and evolving, and that growth is just growing pain. It has, that's what they call it, growing pain. It has lessons with it. So and that's what it is just not letting outside influences triggers and get us out of our balance and harmony. And that requires, it doesn't happen in 1 or 2 sessions. It is a practice, is a way of living,
Yes.
that like waking up, like I am gonna focus on positive no matter what happens. I am gonna be who I am. And there are times I'm like, oh no, my patient is being tested.
Yeah.
You gotta say, okay, what am I, what two questions. What am I supposed to learn? And what accountability. What
Mhm.
was my part in that situation?
Mm.
So once we cover these two, we are good.
Yeah, asking questions again, and like you said, that's something over the past maybe 5 years I've learned to do is ask myself those questions, like when stuff is happening. It was like back to back, and I'm just like, all right, so what's the lesson here, and what do I need to do to, what do I need to learn from this? And yeah, it can be hard. Another powerful thing that you said is the life journey, everything we go through, it's a practice, it's a constant. We are here to grow and learn. So, I was saying to another guest, like, I'm weary of people who are self-proclaimed masters, because we're constantly healing, we're constantly growing, we're constantly learning. And one of the things I realized that was like a relief for me was the fact that, oh, I don't know anything. And so I just embrace constantly learning, because I don't have a strict way of thinking, because anything at any moment could change my perception.
Exactly.
Yes. So let's talk about the duality in, just like we were saying here, kind of nice segue, the duality in being both the student and the teacher.
Yes, most definitely. We are constantly a student and a teacher, because I am constantly learning. And that's the reason we are. I remember a long time ago, I learned from Esther Hicks, that talks about downloads from Abraham, those collective energies, and it says, like, do you like your contrast? Because we are constantly being bombarded by contrast. Means that the thing that we do not like, when we go out in the world and we see things, the situation, the scenarios that we do not like I don't like my job. I'm just, for example, I'm saying somebody goes out and I'm like, I am bored. This job is not challenging for my mind. It's toxic, is whatever. Then from that situation, we are going to go to think, I am not, first of all, the first thing, it could be like, I'm a victim, I am destined to suffer, because I was there, right? I'm saying this not because I wasn't there. I have learned my lesson from this. I'm destined to suffer, I cannot find a better job, blah blah blah. And then after that, like, what can I do? For example, when I was in a place that I was searching, like, the medical world is not answering my, I had, my body was breaking down, really. I'm like, what can I do? How can I, the right question you mentioned, LA, the right question would, how can I, is there something that can help me? Is there something that can help my body? Is there something that it can help my relationship? Is there another better job that is going to be available? And then you start searching, and creativity comes from that place, that we are in that situation that life doesn't work. That means that something good, a growth is coming out of that. When I am in a place that I feel like, oh, I am just being really pushed, I'm like, okay, there is a growth period is coming for me, for my spirit, for my soul, for my personal attributes and everything. There is a growth, personally, professionally, spiritually, mentally, is coming. And then that is easier for me. Not easy, is easier to deal with the situation that I am facing. And I learned it over 30 years. It didn't happen overnight, and I'm still learning. So I can teach, I wrote 2 books, and I can share all of those working with my clients, but still I am still learning. So the more that I learn and I have an open mind, the more that I look and I research, and I have coaches, I read books, and then I can be more of available for other people that they are not where I am. So we are always, going higher.
Yes. As you were speaking, and I had this visualization before, but I don't know if you're familiar with tarot and the story of the major arcana, but it's like the hermit, right? And so the hermit is going up and going through all these challenges, climbing up the mountain. But as he's going, it's lighting the way for the people behind him. But the hermit reaches the top, still has to come down and continue the journey down the mountain, right? And as they go, they like the path. So yeah, yeah, you have to go through stuff to be able to share it with others, and that's a great way to teach, right? Because from experience.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the important thing that I learned is just we have guardian angels. There are a lot of spirit and souls, our loved ones on the other. Excuse me, our loved ones on the other side. We have a lot of things that they can help us, but also at the same time we have the gift of free will, that unless that we are open, and we can make that decision. We can make a decision whether I want to choose that path or not, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like my thing is like we have so many possibilities, right? And it's endless, and everything I'll say that every path is already laid out, right? But it's up to us to choose which direction we go. So yeah, it's we always have that choice, and yeah, perseverance is a powerful thing. Uh, to be able to I know it's like push through culture and try hard, but like in those moments to be able to see the light or grasp onto something and hope. And it was definitely important what you said about the fact that we do have a plethora of guidance on the other side or the ethereal realm, right? So we're never alone. We always have direction. It's just a matter of asking for help, like we said. So you can ask for like physical help, you can ask for spiritual help.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Yes. So that is wonderful. So if you could go back and tell that younger version of yourself that was struggling through, if you could go back and give her one message right now from where you are today, what would it be?
Believe in yourself. You're good enough.
Mm,
Because
yes.
everything that happens, it comes from I don't believe in myself, and I am not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not deserving enough, all of that. So once we have that and that was when I learned about the core issues of myself and many people as I worked with my clients. I use that with my children to teach them that to believe in themselves, and knowing that they are good enough, they are smart enough, they are beautiful enough, and that helps them to become, know their own worth, that they are deserving good. Because sometimes another thing that we learn is just the suffering, come back to the suffering, that we deserve to suffer in order, to have something good. We don't have to suffer to have something good, for example.
Right. You're absolutely right. Yes, good.
Yes.
And yes. So on that note, to everyone out there who's listening, who in this moment, which I say this is more than a podcast. These are real, like literal transmissions for whoever needs to hear it in this moment in time. And so they're hearing this, they're going through this. What is one thing that you would want to say to them that would kind of sum up whatever message you're feeling, energy you're feeling right now, to say to these people listening?
Keep believing in yourself. And again, come back to say, keep believing in yourself. You deserve to be happy, you deserve to be healthy, you deserve to enjoy life, you deserve to feel peaceful, all of that. Keep believing. If there are reasons that we have dreams in our heart, so once we do that, then we are able to move forward and create a better life, not only for ourselves but for everybody in the world as well. The
Mm,
light in the world starts with ourselves.
yes, and I absolutely believe that. That's beautiful. And so, if people wanted to reach out to you to work with you, how would they do that?
I have a website, my name, soodabehmokry.com. I am on majority of social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and everything is on my name, Soodabeh Mokry. And they can find my books actually on my website, but also they are available on Amazon as well.
Nice. And lastly, where does the universe take you next?
I am just going through the moments of what the next blessings is coming to out. I have been thinking of writing my third book. I am doing a lot of speaking engagement to bring the messages of light and love and unity that the world needs, and trying to enjoy my life with my family.
Yes, that's awesome. And you definitely, I can feel your light, I can feel your energy, and you have powerful, wonderful things to say, especially for women, because we all struggle with self-worth and struggle with asking for help, struggle with taking on too much, and so that manifests in our body as illness. So all of these things. So I think your mission is wonderful, and we're so blessed to have you.
Thank you so much, LA.
You're welcome. And guys, that has been another wonderful transmission. And so until next time, all who awaken, ascend, activate. Who knew Stardust could talk like that? Loved it.
Wisdom from the stars. Transmission complete.
Where to next, Arden?
Next coordinate set. Trajectory. Harmonics of the human spirit. Contact incoming from Grover Crocodile, Sonic Alchemist, Rhythm Channel, and Lyrical Navigator of the In-Between. Prepare for resonance recalibration. The Council listens.